one way.
Oh, you should be live both places before we get silly.
Doop, doop, doop.
I'm going to go in from the other side.
Okay.
Come on in, Barb.
I'll scoot this way.
Let me just suck my chair in further for you, so you can get behind me.
There we go.
This is it.
We got it.
We're gonna sing that one today.
5 golden threads.
We didn't do a
Barb,
practice
you're
warm-up.
spoiling.
Oh no.
We didn't do a warm-up.
We didn't do a warm-up.
We don't have people. We'll
Yeah,
get people.
we'll get people. They'll hear the warm-up before the real thing.
La 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 la.
We can just go on mute
We
for a
miss
second.
Sandy.
I know.
I miss Sandy too.
I'm just going to take this home with
Do you
me.
like your
I was
basket?
going to
It's-
say Leah likes what's in the basket.
Do you like the colors? I actually didn't look when I picked most of the colors. I just
Hi,
reached out like
Carol.
this.
Carol's here.
Well, one person watching on YouTube as well.
We discovered that Tahiti in the zippers is a bright purple color.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have thought Tahiti would be blue.
I would have thought Tahiti would
No,
be blue.
you're thinking of Blast Off Blue.
Oh, that's a fabulous name for a color.
We're talking about Biani zippers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, I know all the color names.
You
For
do.
the most part. If you say a color, I can be like, yeah, that's one. I can't run them all off of my head, but
You'll get there.
I know Tahiti's in the Biani's lineup.
Yeah. Nancy was looking for it, so.
Nice.
Very
Well,
good.
we have enough people that we should probably just...
We should get started?
We should.
Oh
All right.
gosh. Okay. Are you ready for this, friends?
As ready as I'm going to be.
Ready.
It's gonna be all off key without Sandy.
I know.
That's all right.
We didn't snag anybody else either.
We should have.
Yeah, I wonder if anybody else is up for singing with us.
Maybe Maureen next time.
Maybe.
Next
We'll ask
time.
Maureen. Peer pressure.
We could have the entire My Sewing Room choir.
That'd be adorable.
I'm not sure they're all in though.
Maybe not.
Wait till payday. Here comes Cam.
Cam, you want to sing
Cam,
with us?
come here. Come and sing with us.
I have them.
We have a cheat sheet.
That's
I think that's a hard no.
Alright.
that was a no. Okay.
All right. Count us in.
I don't know how to count.
3, 2, 1. On the 5th day of Christmas, my true love gave to me 5 golden threads, 4 meters of fabric, 3 3-yard quilt books, 2 special classes, so I can use my new sewing machine.
So what are you talking about today, Leah?
5 golden threads.
5 golden threads. I don't see any. Well, there is kind of a yellow in there.
It's just a bucket of Leah thread.
Leah thread.
Like
And
this
it's
could just come home with me.
golden.
So yeah, I'm gonna talk thread today.
Yay!
Because we talked about all these other things, but if you're gonna make a quilt out of 4 meters of fabric, your 3 3-yard quilt books, and you're gonna go to a class, you might need some thread. Because I'm pretty sure you're
Yeah.
not sewing your quilt together with air.
No.
Nope.
No. Thread is very important. The more the better.
Always.
And I will
Always.
leave you with that.
Awesome, thank you.
I'm also going to leave. Now that I've...
You're gonna leave me to talk about thread all by myself, which means you guys might never get to leave. I can talk about thread for a long time. I fully admit I'm a thread junkie. So we're going to talk about threads today, and it's day 5, so 5 golden threads. When we first set up our 12 days of Christmas, I think Barb was actually thinking metallic threads. But I decided to take today's video in a very different direction and talk about kind of the basic threads that you might want to start with if you're new to sewing. So for all those people that might be thinking of getting somebody else a gift for Christmas, coming in and buying somebody a whole bunch of metallic thread when they don't know how to sew yet, probably not your best option. Metallic thread does take some care and love and attention and some knowledge to use successfully. So we're going to talk about threads that are going to be easy to use, give you nice stitch quality, and are going to be effective starting threads for you, depending on what you're up to. So first up, if you come to us and you just need to do some repair work on your clothing, some mending, mending, a little bit of home decor, that kind of sewing. For the most part, I'm going to suggest that you start with a polyester, an all-purpose polyester thread. In all-purpose polyester, we have 2 brands that I quite love, and to pick between the 2 brands, I go by color. That's really how I choose. So the first one is Metrosene, and I'm going to flip this camera around here. I'm going to flip it around with you guys not live. That'll be less crazy. So Metrosene, we have, this comes in 200 meter spools. Is that 200 meter spools? 100 meter spools. I know math. 100 meter spools or 500 meter spools. And there's a really wide selection of colors in the 100 meter spools. And I would say that would be one of my very favorite starting threads. This is the thread I would say if you're going to be making clothes, bag making, sewing home decor, you're going to be pretty happy with an all-purpose polyester. It'll be strong. It'll hold up well to the wash. It's going to be lovely to work with. And there's enough great colors that you can color match to your fabric pretty well. Its friend in the all-purpose polyester world is from WonderFil, and it's called Designer. So Designer is, again, all-purpose polyester. These are 1,000 meter spools, so a little bit more bang for your buck, and a little bit different color selection than what you've got in with Designer, so, or with Metrosene. So between these 2 brands and threads, usually I pick by color. So I've got lots of both at home. They run about the same through my sewing machine and through most sewing machines, so you'll be pretty content either way. All-purpose polyester thread can also be used on your serger. So we do have specific serger thread. That's our Countess serger thread, and we carry threads like our woolly poly threads for serging. But lots of times you can get the Designer or the Metrosene to run very nicely through your serger. The spools are just smaller than what you get in a cone of serger thread. So sometimes these will make you very happy and run both through your sewing machine and your serger. However, serger thread won't run through your sewing machine very happily. So a little bit more versatility in Designer and Metrosene. So those are the very starter threads that I would get from a home deck standpoint. When we start talking quilting, many of us like to quilt our quilts with cotton thread. Cotton thread in your cotton fabric is nice and gentle. You'll have a very similar texture at the end. They're not super shiny. So we're going to start with this one. My very, very, very favorite cotton thread in our store comes on pink spools, and it is the 60 weight Presencia. So 60 weight is thinner than the 50 weight because thread numbers are backwards to everyday life. And so 50 weight comes on the gray spools, 60 weight comes on the pink spools. There's fewer colors, but the thinner thread will lay flatter in your seams. So if you're working on great big 10-inch square blocks, the thickness of your thread might not make a big difference. But if you're into super tiny, accurate piecing, the thinner the thread is in your seams, the flatter those seams will lay and the more accurate your piecing will be when you get into really fine detail work. The Presencia 60 weight has 600 meters on the spool, and the 50 weight has 500. And then there's also 100 meter spools in even more colors for the Presencia. So Presencia is my go-to low lint, low fuss, happy to sew with all the time cotton thread. And then again, sometimes you just can't quite get the color you want out of Presencia because they can't make every color ever. We also have Konfetti from WonderFil. So Konfetti from WonderFil again is a 50 weight cotton thread. It's an Egyptian cotton, so it's a long, stable fiber, just like the Presencia, and it's not very linty. The Presencia comes in the 1,000 meter cones, as well as 2,500 meter big cones. So if you wanted to throw that up on your machine for free motion quilting a giant quilt, you could do that as well, or on a long arm. So Konfetti, Presencia, there's a variegated version of Konfetti, which is called Tutti, and those will give you fantastic options for your cotton threads. That's my cotton thread suggestion. And then, as some of you may have noticed watching us over the last little bit, I really enjoy embroidery. And my go-to embroidery thread for almost everything I do, unless I desperately need metallic thread, is Isacord. And the Isacord is growing at my house. Don't tell my husband. But there's like 4 new colors at my house since Friday because I needed more thread. So Isacord, these are 1,000 meter spools of Isacord, and 1,000 meters of thread in embroidery will get you about 200,000 stitches if you're trying to do math and figure out how much thread you should buy. If you know your stitch count in your embroidery design and you know how many of them you're making, 1,000 meters will get you about 200,000 stitches if you're using it just in the top of your machine for embroidery. But other purposes that you could use your Isacord for. Isacord is a polyester, so it is strong. It is very low lint because it's polyester. I have used it in garment making when I needed to color match because it is still a strong polyester. It's shinier than I like to use in most clothing, but that's only a visual thing, not a big deal. You could use it for regular machine applique. So if you wanted to blanket stitch around a project, Isacord is gorgeous to work with for that kind of stitching as well. There's variegated versions, and those might work really well if you're wanting to do some decorative stitch work or even just the plain colors. So Isacord, definitely in my top. I own way more Isacord than the other threads I've talked about, but that's because with embroidery you need more colors. You knew most of my regular clothing sewing with like half a dozen colors. But embroidery, it's nice to have all the colors. And when you're grabbing these Isacord spools, those little bottoms fold out to hold those thread tails so they don't wander around in your drawer and get loose and messy on you. So there we have it. I have Isacord, Konfetti. Oh, I have more than one Konfetti back here. Konfetti, Presencia, 1, 2, 3, Designer, and Metrosene. Those are my 5 golden threads with more spools of each. There's many other threads in our store, but for most of your basic getting started sewing, something from one of these 5 will probably do what you need it to do. We have thicker threads for hand sewing. We have more specialty threads like our metallics and our woolly polys. We have super thin threads for finer bobbin work, or having to tie to your seam in embroidery. But really having an array of these 5 threads if you're going to take threads home with a new machine for somebody. Black, white, cream are the safest choices to buy thread for somebody if you're getting them a machine. So if you took somebody a spool of each of these, if you know they're going to do home deck clothing kind of stuff, grab some of that Designer or Metrosene. Grab a basic color. Everybody needs black thread, whether it's to sew a button back onto a coat or to hem up a pair of dress pants. Black thread never is a bad idea. Some people don't really wear white, but also a handy color to have. And those would be threads that if you're bundling in a machine for somebody for Christmas, that I would say would be a pretty safe start. If you're looking to get somebody an embroidery machine for Christmas, or you know they're getting an embroidery machine, we have packs of Isacord. We have top 10. I believe we have a top 30 pack, a top 50 pack, a top 60 pack, and a top 100 pack. We're in the middle of changing top numbers. The 30 and the 60 are going away. We're going to have just the 50 and 100 in the Isacord. So it's a really nice way to get started. If a whole 1,000 meters of bright pink seems daunting for you, in Isacord, you're like, no, I really want to do this decorative thing, but I don't need a lot of decorative pink thread. The color numbers on Isacord match the Metler Polysheen exactly. They are the same thread. The Metler Polysheen is on a 200 meter spool instead of the Isacord on 1,000. So we don't have all the same colors in the Polysheen, but it is a good, excellent color match if you're looking to get thread that way. There's variegateds, there's more cotton threads. There's so much good stuff. So that's my suggestion. 5 top threads. You can't go wrong. They will be lovely threads to work with. And you'll have lovely stitching without a lot of work. So I'm going to put all those back in the bucket. There's a couple colors in there that aren't like take me home colors, but maybe I'll buy myself a bucket of thread. Probably not today. I did buy thread a couple days ago. Some other new stuff in the store, and behind us we have a gorgeous new fabric line called Heather and Sage, which has just like the cutest little cows on it. You're so tiny. You're like little finger-sized cows and little finger-sized sheep. They're so sweet. It's a really cute fabric line. There's a wildlife panel with it, with some rabbits and foxes, and it's cute. It's really sweet. So, you know, somebody needing kind of a farm kind of feel to their fabric, that'd be cool. And then I think Chelsea found this pattern lurking in the store. And this looks like a partridge in a pear tree. So very, very on theme for 12 Days of Christmas. It's called Bird Watching. And wall hanging that turns out to be 36 by 36. And this is one of those places that has applique in it, and you could come and grab one of those lovely Isacord threads to do your applique work. So let's hijack the sample out of the display. That's my plan. It's not everything it needs to be embroidered. Everything could be embroidered in my opinion, but it's not everybody's thing. So the satin stitch work in here, that looks like it's done with an embroidery thread, decorative stitching thread. It's a really sweet little sample. An excellent place to practice your blanket stitch. You can get a pretty different look if you switched to green thread instead of doing all black. But if you've got black thread at home, black on the black background is pretty sharp. So that's there. Other thing, I'm going to fall off my chair if I'm not careful. Too wiggly today. Other things going on here in store. I can safely say is that there is some Black Friday sales coming your way, specifically on machines. That's my department when I'm not singing on Facebook and YouTube Live, is the machine department. There's some Black Friday sales starting early next week. So if you're looking for that new sewing machine as part of day 1 of our 12 Days of Christmas, come early. Don't come early. We'll get the information out in a timely manner. You'll have time. But there's not endless supply of everything. So if that is on your list, do watch our e-news for this coming Friday, and we'll make sure that you get the machine you're looking for the holidays. If you're looking to give it as a gift, if you're looking to get a machine so you can sew Christmas gifts, that's cool too. We still have space in a couple more classes that are coming up. Next week, we've got our intro to embroidery, 3 different sections. You can join whichever one you want or all 3. Intro to freestanding lace, and intro to applique, which this is regular machine applique down on the sample. Machine embroidered applique is the second class, and then intro to embroidery on unusual objects and fabrics, mostly unusual fabrics, will be Friday morning next week. And then coming into December 1st, our tree skirt class, our Quilt As You Go tree skirt class is happening. I was chatting with somebody up front today about it, and realized that the very solid list of supplies you need is still not posted to the web, so I apologize. It's on my computer at home where I made the list. And then I probably forgot to hit send on the email to myself to get it to the store. So we'll change that. It'll be up on the web tomorrow. And then you'll have all the information you need for that 2-part class. We'll talk about how to make bias binding. Quilt As You Go technique is fantastic and easy to work with. We'll talk about how to embellish that tree skirt beyond the basic tree skirt if you want. Maybe you don't for the first one, but you venture into that on the second one. That'd be cool. And it was a quick, easy gift to make. So it would be a great class to join us for. And we have 1 seat left in Vintage Flora on December 9th. So those are some of the things coming up here in store shortly. And there's new fabric every day. It's fantastic. Tomorrow, Facebook and YouTube Live, we are back. I'm back with Chelsea. She started a sewing project with some lovely stretch velvet that we got in, and one of our new patterns from our arriving soon pattern collection called New Look. We're going to carry on with making her a holiday party skirt so she can go to a Christmas party. Holiday party, Christmas party, whatever you need to call it. A party in December where she should be dressed up. So we're going to be carrying on with that tomorrow, and we'd be happy to have you join us. We talked about reading the pattern envelope yesterday. We're going to start the skirt tomorrow. So that's what I have for you guys today. Thank you for joining me for day 5 of our 12 days of Christmas. We'll get you back in a couple days, probably early next week. Early next week for the next one. I lost the list. It's on the table here somewhere. Early next week.